I mean, this is, I don't know if anyone knows this, but your parents dropped you off at like an old folks home when you were
That's right.
younger.
For the first
And
5
for the
years
first
of your
5 years of
life.
your life because
Mama
they didn't feel like
Hanson's
raising
house.
you.
Yeah.
No, you were left in
But
an
it's
elderly home, so you were around as a 5-year-old,
My
95-year-olds.
friends.
so
So
maybe
it doesn't
that's why you were
exactly.
figuring out how to converse with people very quickly because you were able to have these
Yeah,
conversations.
my
and-
average friends were like 90.
yeah,
Like
which is
this.
crazy.
So you're about 5 years old. Yeah, at the time, I didn't think it was so bad, but we look back on it. It's not exactly a smart choice. Daycare centers, you have daycare centers today. Back then, they really didn't have. They had boarding houses.
Really?
Yeah, for like traveling salesmen or airline stewardesses, people coming in and out. So you go down to a boarding table,
Mhm.
boarding house,
Yeah.
and you'd see 11 strangers. And the next day, there's 9 strangers. It's a boarding house, literally like
Wow.
low rent,
Yeah.
you know.
Do
You
you?
got some guy who smells like turkey.
Well, that
He's in
kind
the
of
next room. You go, yo, can't wait till he moves on and get that guy that smelled like crab back in here. He was
Oh
great.
my
Nice.
God. I mean, that probably makes sense for why you like Jell-O so much today. Is that's probably
I-
all you were eating in the old
I
folks'
do.
home.
I like food that doesn't
require
require any
chewing.
intelligence
Rice
whatsoever.
pudding and Jell-O.
Exactly
And
right.
applesauce.
And
Well,
Right.
applesauce.
You know, so since 5 years old, you're left with strangers. You told us countless times the amounts that you've ran away from home.
A
I
lot.
remember
A lot.
one time actually, I don't know if you remember this. We were in Philadelphia maybe 4 years ago together. It was just you and me. And we were just walking through the streets and we were getting nostalgic and you were telling me all these stories and you stopped me on the street corner and you said, right here, I was 13 years old when I ran away from home and I lit my first cigarette on this corner right here in
Get out of
Philadelphia.
here.
I swear. And I
remember
said,
that. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was the coolest story ever. My dad smoking a cigarette at 13, but you were really nostalgic about it. And I think that's
Isn't it funny how certain things that get burnt into your memory, like certain
Yeah.
things that are just apocalyptic in your life? Oh, my first cigarette, which I remember very well. It was a Parliament, it was a Parliament new filter types. Like, whoa, so you get to die a little bit later, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Before then,
God.
cigarettes were not considered bad; they're considered very cool.
Right.
Mhm.
So everyone, by the time they were 12 or 13, had some pack rolled up in their shoulder.
Yeah, it was
this-
trendy. It was
yeah,
cool
Right.
back
it
then.
was terrible.
So,
terrible.
I mean, how many times did you run away from home?
Oh my God. Literally, at least a dozen or more, but it was never planned. For example, this is what's so different. Why I would hate to have raised myself. I could have never done it. I would put myself up for adoption.
But I don't
immediately.
blame you. I mean, I would.
No,
it was
seriously,
your
I
parents
believe it.
more
I'm no
so.
picnic. I had this attention disorder kind of a thing. I just didn't focus on anything. So anything that would become routine or boring, I would leave. So I began on my way to school, 16 years old.
Mhm.
I go, God, I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Florida. And literally start
just go.
hitchhiking to Florida,
Wow.
starting at Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia. No money.
Oh
In other
my
words,
God.
whatever I had for lunch and a coat, which I ended up selling outside of a swamp in Ocala, Florida for $3, which I remember that saved me. That $3 was really important. But yeah, that's what I would do. And then you get to the bottom, you get to Florida, and I go, okay, now what? I
Yeah, how do
have
you
to
get
get
home?
arrested or something because I have to get back to Philadelphia. No one's going to
No
volunteer.
That's not
way.
what you
Sure.
did. You'd purposely get arrested,
So-
so then they'd send you home.
What type of
Right.
things
Because you
would
were a
do?
minor.
What
Right.
would you do
That's
to get arrested?
so clever.
Thank you.
What would you do
I
to get
guess that's
arrested?
not
Well, what
the right
happened
thing
was
to say,
the
but-
dumbest thing was this doesn't bode well for our military either. So I'm in Ocala, Florida,
Mhm.
alone. And I just sold my coat for $3. And I said, okay, I have enough for a meal, but I got to get back to Philadelphia. And I see a military base. And I break onto the military base.
What?
But it's so simple. It's like, I really, literally,
How is that simple?
yeah, it's a fence.